now, a word from our sponsor. Ayaya songs are about our histories. Ayaya is an Inuit-owned firm that tells our stories in many languages across Canada. They are experts in publishing children's books, usually in syllabics, and they do large multi-language projects like the reports of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Commission. If you need help getting your stories into classrooms or homes in Cree, Inuktitut, or other Indigenous languages, check them out at ayaya.ca. That's ayaya.ca. Ayaya is a proud sponsor of the Roots and Hoots podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Roots and Hoots, a podcast project produced by the Legacy of Hope Foundation. Since 2020, we have been gathering, laughing, learning hard truths, and sharing in community conversations with Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island. Each episode, we learn something new, and we're excited to be sharing this journey with you. Roots and Hoots is about connecting with and celebrating Indigenous people's contributions to their fields of study, work, and cultures. We also speak with allies who share how they are furthering the work of reconciliation in Canada. To learn more about the Legacy of Hope Foundation and the work that we do, please visit legacyofhope.ca.
Welcome back to another episode of Roots and Hoots. This week, host Gordon is speaking with Piita Irniq, an Inuit elder, drum dancer, former commissioner of Nunavut, and survivor of the residential school system. As he shares in this interview, Piita lives a great life. He travels the world building Inukshuks, teaching people about Inuit culture and traditions, as well as leading efforts to support healing and reconciliation. Piita was born in an igloo and talks about the many changes Inuit have gone through in such a short time. He talks about their strength, flexibility, unity as a people, and so much more. Please enjoy this special episode of Roots and Hoots.
I'm with Piita Irniq from Nunavut, Canada. And he's going to start by talking about where he comes from, his family background, and where he was born, and community, and its culture. Just tell us about that, Piita, as we start.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I was born in an igloo and lived in an igloo for the first 11 years of my life.
Wow.
And I grew up around Nunavut, fledgling seagull fledgling place. They have a lot of, that's the name of the community where they have a lot of seagull, baby seagulls.
Yeah.
And
Nunavut is where? What's the...
Nunavut is up in, used to be formerly known as Repulse Bay.
Right.
And it's about 200 miles north of Rankin Inlet.
Right.
1,000 miles north of Winnipeg. And so I grew up there, and I was supposed to be, I was being taught as a good hunter and a good fisher, a good husband, a good father to my children. And so I was taught to be all these good things that what it takes to be a good Inuk, a successful hunter and fisher. So that's what I grew up with around Nunavut, Repulse Bay in the 1950s and 1960s.
Yeah.
And we traveled by dog team. We always practiced Inuit culture as a hunting society.
Yeah.
And when someone got sick, our doctors, quote-unquote doctors, were shamans, Amakwit in Inuktitut. So that's how I grew up, and that's what I thought I was going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so that was my life in the 1950s and 60s in Nunavut, Repulse Bay region.
Yeah. Now, we got listeners from all over the world, and they will not. Some of them will not know what Inuit means. Maybe you can explain that in the original name.
Inuit means people. Inuit means human beings,
Right.
those who are alive, as opposed to people who are no longer alive. But Inuit particularly means those people, those of us, my fellow Inuit, who were living in a place called Mongolia, many, however many you want to use,
Thousands.
many thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And we went from there to far eastern Russia. So we have Yupik over there. They are also Inuit, same people as me.
Wow.
And we also went to what is now called Alaska during the Ice Age, many thousands of years ago. And we went to Canada. We traveled by dock team. We traveled by Umek, the boat, skin boat.
Yep.
And we traveled east to Greenland. So that's where we are situated. We are hunters, we are fishers, and as Inuit, we have our own language, and we have our own naming system as Inuit, and we have always lived either in igloo in the wintertime, made out of snow house, or kakmak, a sod house in wintertime as well.
Right.
Igloo was easier to make, but colder than kakmak.
Yeah.
Kakmak is earth
Right.
made out of sod
Yeah.
from the land, providing there is enough sod on the land.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of it on the land since time immemorial. So Inuit always lived in an igloo in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And we also lived in skin tents, caribou skin tent, or seal skin tents in the summertime.
Yeah.
And we, as I said, we always traveled by dock team. We walk on the land to go caribou hunting.
Wow.
And as Inuit, we have always followed the season of the animal.
Yeah.
So that's who we are as Inuit in the Arctic. We occupy the Arctic coastal regions from far eastern Russia to Alaska to Canada and then to Greenland.
Yeah.
We are one people. We have one language, but we have many different dialects depending where you come from in the world.
Yeah. Very interesting. And I like Inuit. What were Inuit called before you started using the word? You've always used the word Inuit in your language. But what did the rest of the world call you?
The rest of the world called us Eskimo. And in 1600, somewhere in 1600, there was a priest, Jesuit priest, who came to Canada to Christianize the Inuit, the indigenous people of Canada. And he met up with Cree Nation in Ontario. He met up with the Cree Nation in Ontario in 1600. And Cree Nation had already made connections with the Inuit at that period of time.
Yeah.
They
live close to each other, right?
Pardon me?
In northern Quebec, they live close to each other.
They live close to each other pretty well.
Yeah.
So they call us Eskimo, which means raw meat eaters.
Yeah.
And which is what we are.
Yeah.
We are raw meat eaters, and that's how we have survived since time immemorial. So they call us Eskimo, and French Jesuit priest, he went back to France and he said, I learned that there are Inuit, there are people there who are also we call them Eskimois.
Yeah.
So that's what they call us in 1650 or so.
I don't know how, when I speak Cree, so, which is a native language in Canada, they ever came up, the Crees in Quebec, obviously they have a different dialect, So when I try to say Eskimo, it's aski mwil, meaning aski is earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe maybe
Yeah.
it's animal to them. You know what I mean? Because aski mwil, as eat meat. You know, that's kind of how I
Yeah.
interpret it. Eh?
Yes.
You also, I know you speak in Inuktitut. That was another question I had. I guess you must have spoken. You must have learned to speak Inuktitut when as from birth.
Yeah. My generation, I'm 79 years old. And my generation of Inuit spoke nothing but Inuktitut, Inuktitut from the time that we were born. Our mother and father and my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law, and other Inuit from the community, from the village, all spoke Inuktitut in the 1950s and 1960s as well. However, the government of Canada and the church took us away from our parents forcibly
Yep.
to go to residential school. So also my generation of Inuit were the first generation who started to speak English. So English is not my first language. Inuktitut is my first language. And we had almost pure Inuktitut language when I was growing up.
Yep.
And we had a good many dialects that we spoke as we were growing up, because the community of Nauyat, Repulse Bay, was a home to another group of Inuit from Pelly Bay region,
Yeah.
another group of Inuit from Amitokmiut, which is the Igloolik and Hull Beach region.
Right.
And we only had about maybe 4 or 5 Kaplunat, the white people,
Yeah.
living in the little village. And they lived in houses. They did not live in igloo. And they live in houses.
Where'd you get the lumber from?
I'm sorry?
Where'd you get the lumber from?
From southern Canada. Yeah, they got the lumber from mostly from Montreal region.
Yeah.
They transported by ships.
Yeah.
Who came with the Hudson Bay Company.
Right.
And Roman Catholic Church had their own small ship
Yeah.
in those days, in the 1950s, up to the 1950s and 60s.
Yeah.
And so they brought their own material to build houses for themselves.
Yeah.
They built a mission, they built a warehouse,
Yeah.
and they built an outhouse for themselves. So Hudson Bay Company had their own store. They had a warehouse, and they had a staff house when I was growing up in 1950s and 60s. And they also brought the lumber from southern Canada.
Yeah.
All I know is it came from Montreal, because the ships came from Montreal,
Right.
called annual sea lifts. And when the sea lift come in, and they only come in once summer, to bring in supplies, to bring in flour, to bring in biscuits and tea and
Yeah.
tobacco and kerosene and canvas tents and things like that.
Yeah.
And so they came in once a year every summer, and all of us, when we were in Nauyat, in the community, we would participate in carrying all the 100-pound flour to the warehouse,
Yeah.
and all the 30-pound, 50-pound sugar
Yeah.
and tea and tobacco and all these other pilot biscuits and so forth. So
Would they pay you? Would they pay you?
I was just going to say they paid us, but not very much.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of
Yeah.
bucks.
Yeah, a couple of bucks maybe.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much how we grew up.
Is that like the? Is that where they got the the old $2 bill?
Yeah.
You got the Inuit in the back of the $2 bill. There's Inuit picture of Inuit pulling a boat on shore or something like that.
There's a $2 bill
Yeah.
of Inuit men who are going out hunting with their kayak.
Yeah.
That was taken in Resolute Bay, which is further north than now at Repulse
okay.
Bay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know all the names. Some people who came there, who were on that picture, on that $2 bill, included people like Hirodi Kadluk.
Yeah.
He was a good friend of mine. There was another one named Inukshuks, who became a member of the Nunavut Legislative Assembly years ago.
Yeah.
There was Joseph Itlau, who was one of the first Inuit interpreters in those days in the 1950s.
Wasn't he from Pond Inlet?
Yeah, he's from Pond Inlet.
He smoked a pipe, eh?
Yeah, he smoked a pipe. And matter of fact, I think his great granddaughter is a member of Parliament. Sorry,
Laurie?
Laurie Itlau
Yeah.
is his late son's Noah's
Okay.
daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's a member of Parliament.
Yeah.
She's the granddaughter of Joseph Itlau.
Wow.
I knew him, and I knew Hirodier, and I
Yeah.
knew Elijah Erso, and
So were they older than you?
he was old enough to be my father.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's so much things I want to ask you. Let's talk a little bit about your experiences at residential school. Where did you go to residential school, and how long were you there? And tell us about what memory you have of your time there.
My memory of residential school, like everything else, is very, very clear. I have an extreme ability to remember things that happened to me when I was very young. A very, very young boy, and because we Inuit are verbal culture,
Yeah.
so we have a lot of ability to remember things that happened to us ever since we were little kids.
Yeah.
We always lived on the land. As I said, we always follow the season of the animal, and we always follow the season of the fish, Arctic char.
Yeah.
And that summer in 1958, I was 11 years old, and we were out at our favorite fishing camp, which was like 15 kilometer. Well, let's stick with miles. That's easier for people to understand, maybe. We were about 12 miles from the community of Nauyat, village of Nauyat.
Yeah.
Nauyat was not a community. It was not organized community.
It was an area.
Nauyat, yeah,
Yeah.
Repulse Bay.
So why did you get people from Hull Beach and Igloolik? Were
They
they
tra-
there to hunt or what?
Yeah, they traveled there by dock team since time immemorial.
Really?
They traveled there back and forth because Nauyat, I'm from Nauyat, Repulse Bay, Ivilik Mute,
Yeah.
which is from the Walrus people.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of Ivilik from the Walrus, because there was a lot of walrus in those days, and that's where the name comes from.
Yeah.
And Igloolik Mute, Amitok Mute have been coming to Nauyat, Ivilik region since time immemorial.
Really? Do they
So-
still go there?
Yeah, they still go there by snowmobile
But to hunt.
to hunt.
To hunt what?
And caribou.
Caribou.
And to hunt caribou, and then to visit relatives in Nauyat, Repulse Bay. So when we were living out at our hunting camp, fishing camp, we were close to the animals such as caribou.
Mhm.
And we were going to go off caribou hunting that fall when the caribou hunting, according to Inuit customary laws, opened. The caribou hair was good for clothing. The meat was primed to eat, lots of fat.
Mhm.
So we were going to go on the land on the third week of August
Yeah.
1958. The boat came up from the direction of Nauyat, Repulse Bay, 12, 13 miles away. And thinking that we're having visitors from Nauyat, Repulse Bay, my mother started cooking on a traditional cooking platform and
Yeah.
making tea.
Yeah.
Tea for the visitors. So when they beached on the beach where we were, a priest named Father Theophile Didier, an oblate, he got off the boat. There was at least 3 or 4 other men in the boat. And in Inukshuks, he said to my father, which translated to Peter Irniq has to go to school in Chesterfield Inlet. So we came to pick him up. And he grabbed me by the arm, put me in the boat. And in minutes, I was on my way with the group of men.
Really?
And I'm on my way to Nunavut Repulse Bay.
Just you from the
Just
community?
me. My parents, I left my parents.
They didn't ask?
They didn't ask. Matter of fact, as soon as Father Didier came off the boat and said, Peter Irniq is going to Chesterfield Inlet to go to school, we came to get him. So he grabbed me and put me in the boat. And my father said, oh, they came to get you, better get ready right now. Because oblate priests, any people, white people in those days were very, very powerful people.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no questions asked. There was quite a bit of emotional that took place at that particular period. And my parents, my mother and father and my little brother, my sister and her husband waited on the shore. And they were looking at us as we went, looked at us until we disappeared out in the horizon.
Wow.
And I did the same thing.
Yeah.
So those that picture in my head, and I'm sure in their head, picture in their head as well, is very, very clear to this day.
Yeah.
And it's very sad. It's very sad how it happened. And then soon I was on my way to Chesterfield Inlet to go to Turquoise Hall Residential School with the other young boys and girls.
Yeah.
We had about 11, 12 young boys and girls that were taken away as well to go to residential
Only
school.
11?
Huh?
Only 11?
Number of us were 10 and 11. The youngest one was about 7 years old.
How many were there?
We were about 11 or 12 young boys and girls.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh.
That were taken on Norseman single-engine
Yeah.
float plane.
Okay. What was your time like at the residential school?
Residential school time at the residential school was a horrible life.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, residential school was a horrible, horrible life. When we got there, how I always explain residential school being taken away to go to a residential school. You're leaving your home as a little Eskimo boy. And same day, 2 hours, 3 hours later after you landed in Chesterfield Inlet, you go to Turquoise Hall residence, and you became a little white boy. They put on short sleeve shirt, they put on a pair of jeans, they put on a pair of shoes, and you're expected to start learning to speak English right away.
Wow.
And our supervisors were Grey nuns. A few of them speak Inuktitut, which was good.
Yeah.
Most of the priests, oblate priests, pretty well all spoke French. And because I came from France, and they also came from Quebec French.
Right.
And the Grey nuns also came from Winnipeg, because this is where Grey nuns come from. But they were French community. So many of them spoke French, but there were a few who did not speak a word of Inuktitut.
Yeah.
So when we got to school, we got to the residence, to Turquoise Hall. We're expected to pray about 8 to 9 times a day.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, we had to pray. We
Yeah.
had to pray first thing in the morning when we get up. We had to pray when we go to for breakfast.
Yeah.
After breakfast, when we go to school, we're expected to sing "O Canada," a song that we never knew, that we were never planned to learn. We expected to pray when we got back to the class in the afternoon, and we sing God Save the Queen,
Right.
because at that point, with the government of Canada, we still had the colonialistic attitude of the government with the Book of Wisdom for Eskimos, which were produced by the government of Canada in 1947. And you're expected to be a good Eskimo, you're expected to be a good Inuk, obeying the white man's laws, the white man.
Yeah.
Never to argue with the white man in those days, because they were all powerful people.
Yeah.
So at the residential school, about 2 days, 3 days later, we went to Sir Joseph Bernier Federal Day School. And we, our teacher, school principal was Sister Teresa Saput, and she was principal there. And she was my teacher. Very small grey nun, about 4 feet tall,
Yeah.
a little taller, and very powerful school principal. I was a month into my schooling at the Sir Joseph Bernier Federal Day School, and I got talking to a guy named Marius Chayutak from Iqaluit. Not Marius Tungilik,
No.
but Marius Chayutak from Iqaluit, and we were sitting across from each other, and we started to speak Inuktitut. And Sister Saput noticed me speaking to Inuktitut, and she said, Peter, come here. She made a sign with her forefinger, and said, come here, and come in front of the class. And she was holding a 3-foot yardstick and one hand on her left hand, and she said, let me see the palm of your hand. So I put my hand like this, and she was holding this 3-foot yardstick. Bang!
Wow.
She hit me so hard, the pain that I still feel, and she said, don't ever let me hear you speak that language again in this classroom.
Wow.
So we were not allowed to speak our language at the residential school.
Yeah.
We were not allowed to speak our language at the Federal Day School. When we spoke our language, we got severely punished. They punished us for things that our parents would never punish us. They were, in so many different ways, violent people.
Yeah.
Hitting kids with a yardstick is one thing, and when they punish you, they take you by the ears, and they take you to the school principal, or they take you to the mother superior, and they take you to the head of the oblates to be punished by the authority for something that we didn't do very much. We didn't think
minor thing.
something very minor.
Yeah.
Minor in nature,
Yeah.
right? So that's what they did at the residential school. We did not practice our Inuit language. We did not practice our Inuit culture, that we were taught to be a good hunter and good fisher.
Yeah.
And however, that December in 1958, we had a school concert. When we had a school concert, I was St. Joseph.
St. Joseph. In a play.
In a play at a concert. I was St. Joseph, and there was Mary, and there was little Jesus. So we were taught to be good little Roman Catholics. And at the Federal Day School, they said to us, forget about your culture, forget about your Inuit spirituality, shamanism and things like that, traditional belief. Forget about your language. You're here to learn to read and write English and add arithmetic. So that's what we were taught to be assimilated, to become white European thinkers when we were taken away to go to residential school. they did have a bit of a culture for us when we were at the Chirkotell Hall residential school. When the fall time came, that fall, the foxes had arrived. The Hudson Bay Company was buying fox skins and things like that. So Mother Superior gathered all the boys. I was 11, some were 10, the oldest one was 14 years old. And she said, you're going to be putting out your traps, leg hole traps. Oh, really? Where do we go with? I thought, where do we go and put the traps? I don't know anything about the land in Chesterfield Inlet. I have never been there. I am 11 years old. Where am I going to go and put my traps? So they said they're going to get the bigger boys who had been at the residential school before you to take you to where they are going, and you follow them. So I followed one of the boys. The two of us went out beyond the hill on the other side, maybe about 2 to 3 miles away. We walked, and that fall, when the winter time came, I caught a fox on my trap. Well, with that fox, they said the Superior, Mother Superior again. Mother Superior was all-powerful servant, civil servant of the Chirkotell Hall Federal Day School, residential school. She said, they're going to pay you $3 for a fox pelt. $1 is going to go towards maintenance of Chirkotell Hall, because it's very expensive to go to Chirkotell Hall, and you're going to get $2 for spending money. So I bought a chocolate bar, and I bought a toy gun because we watched a lot of John Wayne and Kirk Douglas movies in those days, Westerns. And they were bang, 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 very good at shooting. So I bought a toy gun. So that's what happened when we were trapping.
The Legacy of Hope Foundation has produced 30 exhibitions that shed light on Indigenous history. Exhibitions are mobile, standalone, and provide a unique museum-like experience that include first-hand Indigenous testimonies of the residential school system and 60 Scoop. The exhibitions promote healing and encourage acts of reconciliation. They can be hosted in schools, offices, parliaments, galleries, or any public space across Canada. To learn more about our exhibitions and borrowing, please contact our exhibitions department at exhibitions@legacyofhope.ca.
So we would have a picture show every Friday night.
Yeah.
But if you, without knowing, disobeyed the directions of the Grey Nun, they said, no picture show for you Friday night. You stay at the Chirkotell Hall.
Jeez.
So severe punishments were like that. There were so many severe punishments. They're very painful to remember. Yeah. And we had one young boy in 1958-59 who tried to walk back home.
Wow.
He was only about 10 or 11 years old. He tried to go back home, so the community had searched for him, and they found him, and he was brought back to Chirkotell Hall.
Yeah. He was alive.
He was all right. Yeah, he was okay. He was all right. And so when we got older, I spent from 1958 to 1963 at Chirkotell Hall.
So you were there for 10 years?
I was there for 58 to 63. Then they sent me in 1963 to Yellowknife Sir John Franklin High School.
Okay.
And then from 1964 and 65 and 66, they sent me to Churchill Vocational Center.
Right.
That was the name of the new vocational center where they took us because we were already big boys and big girls at that point. They wanted, I don't know if you ever heard of the name Ralph Ritzie. He was the superintendent of Arctic schools in the Northwest Territories. So he said when I was in Yellowknife in 1963 and 64 school year, he said he came up from Ottawa. He was a big shot from Ottawa, Indian and Northern Affairs. And he introduced himself to me. Very nice man. He said, he said, Peter, we have Eskimos all over the Arctic. We want to get them in one place. And instead of sending them to Inuvik, instead of sending them to Yellowknife, instead of sending them to Frobisher Bay, instead of sending them to other places, Fort Simpson, we want the Eskimos to be in one place. So we're opening up Churchill Vocational Center. So they brought a young Inuit from Nunavut, northern Quebec, and then from the Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and brought them all to Churchill Vocational Center. Some went to a couple of high schools in Churchill, but most of us we were at the Churchill Vocational Center. So I have 9 years of surviving at residential school.
When you were in Churchill, it's called a vocational school. There were no grades, were there? Or you guys?
We had grades.
Did you?
Yeah, we had grades.
Okay.
Yeah, we had up to grade 9.
Okay.
And at that Churchill Vocational Center, but there was high school. Duke of Edinburgh or something like that. There was high school where some Inuit were taken to at the to take higher education at the high school. And the rest of us were at Churchill Vocational Center.
Were you allowed to go home during the summer?
Yeah. They brought us home in May. And they came to pick us up again in August.
August, so a little different, So
they went up on the land. If Inuit were living way out, 100 miles, it didn't matter whether you live 10 miles away, which is what we were, whether you live 100 miles out, they came to get you by plane.
They found you anyway.
They found you anyway.
Wow.
And an Oblate was there to pick you up. Yeah.
He or she had the power, right?
Yeah, he
authority,
had the power. The Oblate priest had the power.
They were given the power by the government.
Yeah. I think I not only think I also believe that they gave themselves more power than what was necessary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You were part of a team that worked with the Government of Canada to write the formal apology for residential school survivors in 2008. Can you share what this process was like?
Yeah. I am very aware of the impact of residential school. Let me explain this first. At the residential school, we had a loss of culture. We had a loss of language. We had a loss of traditional spiritual beliefs. We were sexually abused by the clergy, and we were severely punished all the time, very often, all the time. And I am speaking for myself and speaking for other people. I am a survivor of all those things that I mentioned. And it's not pleasant to talk about it, but it had to be talked about if we are going to move towards healing and reconciliation with our parents, who were powerless when we were forcibly being taken away. I have always said that I was kidnapped in broad daylight right in front of my parents in the summer of 1958 so that I could be taken to a residential school, a school that was very foreign to us.
Yeah.
And so the impact of residential school was very heavy, very enormous for all of us, for the children taken away, and for our parents who were left by their children.
Yeah.
So we lost out a lot. We paid a heavy price for the education that we got from the impact of residential school.
Yeah.
That's the high price we paid. And beginning in 1987, a man named Marius Tungilik, fellow Nauyak Mute,
Yeah.
fellow Repulse Bayer, as me.
Yeah.
He went to speak to Healing Foundation in Rankin Inlet in September and talked about, he made a presentation about the impact of residential school and talked about the loss of culture, loss of language, spirituality, and so forth.
Yeah.
And the point that he wanted to make was the fact that we were sexually abused by the clergy. And then after that, in 1987, he made that statement. And then in 1989, in November, he said, I was a member of the Northwest Territories Legislative Assembly for the second time from 87 to 91. He said, Peter, I would like you to take this on for us, survivors of residential school. So I made my statement in the Legislative Assembly in November of 1989 and talked about the kind of things that I talked about, loss of culture and so on. And I, at that time, called upon the Government of Canada inside the legislature to have a public inquiry as to what happened to us at the residential school. I wanted to see the Government of Canada to be accountable, acknowledged, and make an apology. While that did not go through, I am satisfied that we worked on the apology firstly with the Bishop of Hudson Bay Diocese, Bishop Renaud Rolu, and he delivered the apology in Inukshuks, February 27, 1996, in its entirety. That they took us away to when we were so vulnerable. They did not seek the permission of the parents to go to school, and they tried to assimilate us to something that we were never going to be assimilated. Yeah, we were going to learn to speak and write English and add arithmetic, yes, but we will never ever be assimilated by the Government of Canada or the Church. So he made that apology in Inukshuks along those lines of you were taken away too early. I'm sorry you were not allowed to speak your own language. I'm sorry that you were sexually abused by the clergy and so on. So now, to come to the Prime Minister's apology, Stephen Harper. I was asked to be one of the four Indigenous people to meet with Stephen Harper on June 3, 2008. We met at his office. There were two First Nations, one Métis, and myself, who met four Indigenous people who helped him to write his apology. And he delivered that apology on June 11, 2008, for the things, much the same things that we talked about with the Bishop Rolu's apology. And that apology was delivered in the House of Commons by the Prime Minister, a lot of us leaders, national leaders, and those of us who were involved in writing the apology were sitting at the center of the House of Commons when Harper delivered the apology. So how it made me feel at that time after the apology was delivered. By the way, I drum danced for that apology in the Parliament to celebrate the apology of the Prime Minister on behalf of all Canadians. And after he delivered the apology, the press was after me as one of the Inuit leaders who helped to do this. How did you feel as Inuk man after hearing the Prime Minister's apology? I said, well, this is the first time I feel like a full-fledged Canadian.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, I thought, I feel like a full-fledged Canadian. I was part of the apology. I hear the Prime Minister's words. I hear that it was a sincere apology because we participated in writing his apology on behalf of all Canadians. He acknowledged and he delivered his apology. Now, Truth and Reconciliation was born right after that. And Truth and Reconciliation was hearing testimonies from First Nations, Inuit and Métis from all across the country. I was part of that for 3 years because I was Inuit cultural advisor to late Murray Sinclair about Inuit culture.
Yeah.
So we went to hear all the testimonies from Southern Canada through national events, and we went to hear all the testimonies from the Arctic in Nunavut, in Kuujjuaq, Inukshuq, Iqaluit, Igloolik, Rankin Inlet, Chesterfield Inlet, and Yellowknife. I shared all of the northern testimonies of Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Apology is an apology that is designed to make amends between the government, the white people, and the Indigenous people of Canada.
Yeah.
That's what apology is meant to be.
Yeah.
Healing and reconciliation. So there was a lot of better healing and reconciliation get-togethers across Canada, sponsored by the Government of Canada, Truth and Reconciliation, various universities across Canada. And so we have moved so far, and a few, very few recommendations of Truth and Reconciliation Commission have been accepted by the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah.
Only about 13 have been accepted, but there has to be more. You know, things like National Holiday Truth and Reconciliation Day at the end of September, and other things like that have been taken on by, accepted by the Government of Canada.
Okay. You've been known to say, and I quote, "We've moved from the igloo to the microwave age within 50 years," unquote. How have Inuit been able to adapt to such a fast change in lifestyle?
We know how to do it.
Yeah.
It used to be moving from igloo to microwave, igloo to internet in 50 years.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I now say to the public 60 years.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. And I'll probably be one of the last Inuit to have been born in the igloo.
Yeah.
Once I am gone to the higher place, nobody else will be able to say that. My children will be able to say my father was born in an igloo.
Yeah.
What? How? Such fast pace? Well, Inuit are very adaptable people.
Right.
We are very patient people
Mm-hmm.
as Inuit, and we survive whatever comes in front of us,
Yeah.
whatever colonialism come in front of us. We'll survive that, no sweat. We can adapt to it, and we
Yeah.
can make it better.
Yeah.
And the rest of Canada is still trying to figure out how to make Canada work, how to make better government in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Inuit made Canada in 15 years after 29 years of political discussions with the government of Canada, from Pierre Elliott Trudeau to Jean Chrétien to Mulroney and a few ministers, and David Crombie and
You have a good
Warren
memory.
Almond. And
You have an excellent memory. Incredible.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how we did it, because we have always worked together as Inuit.
Yeah.
We have always been consensus government.
Mhm.
We have always had consensus government. And our Inuit leaders, they knew their leadership role.
Yeah.
They knew their hunting rules. They knew their environment.
Mhm.
So whatever decisions they make, their decisions were never confrontational, always respected by the village people.
Yeah.
And so no matter where we came from the West Nunavut, we came from the Western Northwest Territories, we came from Kiwadlik region, Central Arctic, Eastern Arctic. We're all one people, as I said. We
Yeah.
have one language, we have many, many different dialects,
Yeah.
but we always know who we run into at major airports in southern Canada. I met Martha Flaherty one day. I was going back from England, and somebody said that the Heathrow Airport, "Hey, Peter!" And I turn around. Holy smokes! There's Martha Flaherty who saw me at in London, England. So we always know other Inuit whenever we see each other from across the street, because of the way we smile, or because of the way we speak,
Yeah.
or because of the way we walk.
Yeah.
But important point is that we are always united.
Yeah.
We never argue with each other publicly about issues that affect us in the Arctic.
Yeah.
And so that's why we easily we were very good negotiators too for Nunavut land claims. So we made some changes. Only in 5 years we negotiated Nunavut territory, for example. And as people, we are always united, no matter where we are. In Canada, we're always united with the people, Inuit of Russia, Inuit of Alaska, Inuit of Greenland and Canada.
Yeah.
And we speak the same language. We hunt almost the same way.
Yeah.
We fished almost the same way.
Mhm.
We lived in an igloo and we survived in an igloo. And we all traveled by dog team. So we know our business of governance in the territories that we created
Yeah.
in many different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And so quickly we made it work,
Mhm.
and better than what it was.
Yeah.
And with the government of Nunavut, we want to make sure, for example, we want to make sure that everybody in Nunavut is represented by the government of a territory.
Mhm.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Ayaya songs are about our histories. Ayaya is an Inuit-owned firm that tells our stories in many languages across Canada. They are experts in publishing children's books, usually in syllabics, and they do large multi-language projects like the reports of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Commission. If you need help getting your stories into classrooms or homes in Cree, Inuktitut, or other Indigenous languages, check them out at ayaya.ca. That's ayaya.ca. Ayaya is a proud sponsor of the Roots and Hoots podcast.
One of the things you are known for is building Inukshuks, Inukshuit,
Yeah.
all over the world. Can you tell us a bit about this and what is the meaning behind the Inukshuk?
Yeah. Well, remember Vancouver Olympic Inuk,
Yeah.
imitation of a person. Inuit don't call that Inukshuk. I did not like it. Besides, the Vancouver Inukshuk maker was a non-Canadian. She was a Spanish woman, as they said,
Really?
who received $25,000 to do that quote-unquote Inukshuk. It's not an Inukshuk, and to this day, I dislike it.
Yeah.
Inukshuk, let me explain. There are different ways of making an Inukshuk. She made the one with 2 arms,
Yeah.
the head, and the leg.
Yeah.
That represents, according to the custom beliefs of the Inuit, that type of Inukshuk with head, arms, and legs is that someone was murdered here.
Oh, really?
So that is the symbol of the Inukshuk. So Inuit never called it Inukshuk.
Yeah.
And Inukshuk comes from the word Inuk. Inukshuk means likeness of a person.
Mm-hmm.
When you see it out in the distance on top of the hill, on top of the mountain, it looks like a person standing.
Yeah.
But it's a silent marker on the land
Mm-hmm.
built by Inuit thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
It is a pile of rocks,
Yeah.
a pile of rocks. Sometimes on top you may have a pointer
Mm-hmm.
pointing to the river.
Yeah.
Indication that maybe on that spot down at the river is a good fishing spot.
Right.
Inukshuk, meaning likeness of a person, is a symbol of survival for Inuit.
Yeah.
They're made for a purpose
Right.
of surviving.
Yeah.
Built in the areas of rivers and lakes,
Mm-hmm.
built in the areas of good fishing, good seal hunting,
Yeah.
and a good caribou hunting place.
Wow.
Those are the major purposes of building an Inukshuk.
Yeah.
They can be as high as a person.
Yeah.
They can be as higher than a person. And sometimes Inukshuk has a look-through window,
Mhm.
quote-unquote window on top.
Yeah.
Because Inuit, since time immemorial, never had a telescope.
Telescope. Yeah.
Never had a telescope. So we had to make a messenger Inukshuit,
Mhm.
plural. And one of the things that Inuit make, and is what I make, is one with look-through or quote-unquote window.
Yeah.
If you look through one way, through the look-through, you might see out in the distance a good fishing place,
Yeah.
a good caribou hunting place on the land, a good seal hunting place
Mhm.
along the sea coast.
Yeah.
That is the purpose of Inukshuk as a symbol of
Yeah.
survival.
Right. Are there any Inukshuks that you're aware of that were there as long as you can remember?
There are many, many Inukshuks around Ivy League region. Ancient, very ancient
Really?
Inukshuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, there was a guy named Norman Hallandy who
Mhm.
wrote a book about Inukshuit. And it has all that information about Inukshuit.
Yeah.
When I confronted Vancouver Olympic in 1998
Mm-hmm.
and came up with the proper name, proper image of Inukshuk, I got Coca-Cola to write me a letter and ask me if they could do a logo for their bottling plant in Iqaluit and use Inukshuk as their logo.
Yeah.
And I said, yes,
Yeah.
you go ahead. At least you're seeking permission
Yeah.
to use it. I was a newly appointed Deputy Minister Designate of Culture, Language, Elders and
Mhm.
Youth in the
Yeah.
new government of Nunavut. And right after that, Children's Album book wrote to me and asked me for permission to use Inukshuk for their children's book.
Yeah.
And we wrote a book together called Inukshuk Book. It has a lot of stories. I helped to do that book with children's owl book.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of pictures of Inukshuit,
Yeah.
and it has a lot of stories that I wrote in the book.
Yeah.
So it's those two books are
Yeah.
quite representative of the Inuit because I know my Inukshuk,
Mm-hmm.
and Norman Holland talked a lot about talked a lot to Inuit about the purpose of the Inukshuk.
Mm-hmm. You've traveled all over the place, all over the world, building Inukshuks. Name a few places you've been to.
Where I've been to,
Not all, but
yeah,
you know, I know you've been to a lot of
Yeah.
places. But what
Yeah.
are some of the most memorable places you've been to?
yeah, memorable places
Yeah.
are Normandy, France, and I want to tell a little story about
Yeah.
that because it's very notable. Back in 2005, the Veterans Affairs of Canada established calling home spirits from Europe who died during Second World War,
Mm-hmm.
and they established calling home spirit committee of Indigenous people, First Nations, Métis, people who went to war, Second World War,
Yeah.
and with Métis, First Nation, and Inuit.
Mm-hmm.
I was advisor to the group. I've never been to war because Northwest Territories, the Inuit never got to war,
Mm-hmm.
but we were the ears, we were the eyes and ears for the military. So if we saw anything unusual activity during the Second World War between 1941 and 1944, we are to report our observing to the Hudson Bay Company or to the Oblate
Yeah.
or to a police if there is a police in places like Cambridge Bay or Iqaluit.
Yeah. RCMP.
RCMP at
Yeah.
that time. So when notable places, we went to Europe to visit grave sites of Canadian soldiers who died in
Right.
Europe,
Yeah.
in France and Belgium.
Yeah.
Is it Jimmy Rich?
Vimy Ridge.
Vimy Rich, right.
Yeah.
We went there as well. So when we went to Normandy, France,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I would like to build an Inukshuk to mark the Allied forces, mainly the Canadian. So I built an Inukshuk
Mm-hmm.
at Juno Beach.
Wow.
And Inukshuk uses local rock,
Yeah.
and it has a look-through. We directed from France directly to Canada.
Yeah.
And the spiritual message of that is that we'll bring back the war dead, the indigenous people from France to Canada through the window in spirit.
Yeah.
That's what we said. That's
Yeah.
what I said in that message
Mm-hmm.
with the Inukshuk I built at the Juno Beach in Normandy.
Yeah.
Royal Scottish Museum, Edinburgh. I was invited to build an Inukshuk at their Scottish Museum, and I helped them with Yupik exhibit, and they had First Nation to establish First Nation exhibit, my Inukshuk, and Yupik exhibit on one side.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. I made a Inukshuk at Montevideo, Uruguay,
Wow.
at their museum in 2013. I built an Inukshuk along in Chicago Field Museum in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
It's a permanent structure as well. It stands next to Native American totem pole
Mm-hmm.
from Alaska,
Wow.
made by Alaskan artists. I built an Inukshuk at Santa Fe Museum in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I built an Inukshuk at Museum in Texas Museum, in Houston, just to mention those places.
Yeah.
What do I do? They allow and have me lecture at a university
Mm-hmm.
or at educational facility or at the museum gathering at each one of those places where I've been to.
Yeah.
And I sometimes have national press
Yeah.
to talk about the Inuit and to talk about the Inukshuk that I built. However, my main purpose is to build friendship and relationship with the people where I am building an Inukshuk.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the same.
Yeah.
And they're always very, very happy to have Inuit-made Inukshuk.
Yeah.
And they have a better understanding about better education, about what Inukshuk means,
Yeah.
the purpose of Inukshuk to the Inuit since time immemorial.
Do you have, when you're building an Inukshuk in these places, do they come with a? Do they give you a pile of rocks or something? And
I pick out the rocks. I should mention before I answer that question. I built the Inukshuk with an elder from Nauyat Repulse Bay in 1999 here at the Ottawa International Airport.
Oh, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah,
You did that?
Yeah, we
Wow.
built that sponsored by the old First Air, and there's a ride up at
Yeah.
the departure exit.
Yes. Yes.
And that we built the Inukshuk for Ottawa International Airport,
Yeah.
Jack Carter,
Yeah.
whatever the proper name is.
Yeah.
And so what we do is, as an Inukshuk builder, I know how to build an Inukshuk in my head right away.
Really? You know exactly how you're going to do
I
it?
know exactly how I'm going to do it.
Really? Oh.
So we have lots of paper, computer. Computer is so important today,
Yeah.
even to the Inuit, eh?
Yeah.
So we write lots with the people that are going to come, and we, the organizers from the other country or from the other place, because I've also built an Inukshuk in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia
Mhm.
before. So we talk on computer, and we're going to have so many helper. We're going to have a truck. We're going to have front end loader to bring the big foundation about the size of this, about 2 meters
Yeah.
long and 2 meters wide, and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a big truck to transport all the big stones to the location.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And you pick them.
I pick them
Yeah.
from the rock quarry.
Okay.
Sometimes we go 30 miles, sometimes 50 miles to go get the rocks from the city.
Right.
And the world has gotten really, I got the whole world interested in Inukshuk.
Yeah. You have.
So they,
Are the rocks any different?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. I don't like building an Inukshuk with granite. Too
Yeah.
hard.
How is it?
Very, very hard.
Yeah.
And I built my Inukshuk with the softer limestone, for example.
Yeah.
Sometimes white. Sometimes I may have a granite, depending how it is shaped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I may have that. But what we have to do at these places, because they're public places, we have to drill them.
Yeah.
We have to put rods into them, and we
Okay.
have to cement them.
Right.
Because, oh, gee, let's have a picture with Inukshuk over here, and we don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right.
They have to be careful of how they handle the Inukshuk. So I also built for Acadia University in Wolfville, Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
a year ago
Mhm.
exactly. So I get helpers, and I get both men and women come out
Mhm.
to help
Yeah.
from the university or
Yeah.
from the organization who is sponsoring me to go and build an Inukshuk for them.
Yeah.
Building an Inukshuk at home takes me about an hour up in Nunavut.
Yeah.
Down here, it may take me about 4 to 5 days to build the Inukshuk
Why is that?
because of all the distance of the rock quarry,
Okay.
helpers helping me and bring it into the location,
Yeah.
and all those things that are involved in getting all the rocks into the where I want to build the, or where they want me to build the Inukshuk. Yeah.
You seem to be a very busy man, especially at your age, which you're 79 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You're still on the go.
I'm on the go.
What's your next project? What else are you going to do next?
Well, I'm going to travel. I'm going to travel some more. At 79 years old, I have decided not to travel as much as I did before.
Yeah.
Mainly because I want to spend more time with my family.
Yeah.
I want to spend more time in building my house. I want to spend more time just being around my family and traveling around with my car and with my wife's car, and see part of the province in Ontario.
Yeah.
But I still travel to different places. I'll be going to Kuujjuaq in a week, and I'll be doing some work with health board up there, and talk about healing and reconciliation of people, and people who have been impacted from whatever happened many years ago.
Yeah.
And so I'll be working with people and teach about Inuit culture,
Right.
Inuit drum dancing, and sometimes Inuit way of drum making.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to be doing as well.
Yeah, you're quite an amazing guy. You've done a lot in your life, and there's so many other things that we can talk about. This question is about reconciliation. I think you touched on it a bit. Do you have a message for Canadians about reconciliation and how we can make Canada a better country?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I've done quite a lot of speaking about healing and reconciliation. There's a word that I often introduce to people that I talk to, whether they be university, whether they be government agencies, or they be ministers that I've talked to at a public function, or any other people, or Inuit. There's a word that I often talk about, Inuk Elder. Inuk Elder means living in love, living in compassion, caring for one another, helping each other, respecting each other, living in peace and harmony with one another.
Yeah.
That's the word that is catchy to a lot of people. With the government agencies, sometimes
That's the one word?
that's one whole word. My language is very easy to learn, right?
Well, yes and no.
Inuk, living in peace, living in harmony, living with respect and helping each other, in love and compassion. That's
Jeez.
all those words are in there.
One statement.
It's what my ancestors taught us since many thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's some things that we live with today.
Yeah.
Because we're always helping each other, whether with food, or whether someone is having a hard time, or people are having a hard time. We're always helping each other and other people.
Yeah.
So what I expect Canada, the world, to be, especially during these uncertain period of time in the world, we need to be more kind to each other. We need to talk more with each other instead of having confrontations with each other. It's a really good way of working. It's really a good way to work together when we can communicate what we mean. We can make other people understand.
Yeah.
They can make me understand what they want. And because we're always talking with each other, and we always come up with a good way of healing and reconcile with each other. And that's why it's a big picture. A couple of years ago, I presented Inuit drum to Pope Francis when he went up to Iqaluit.
Really?
When he came up, I drum danced, and after I drum danced, I presented him with Inuit drum that my son and I made the day before.
Wow.
And it's a way of saying to the Pope, it's time for your church to move towards healing and reconciliation towards Indigenous people of Canada.
Yeah.
And that's what they got that message through really loud and clear, because it's important that healing and reconciliation takes place, because it can be done.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to do it, especially, as I said, during the time of uncertainties around the world. We have a very, very good earth that we have to look after. We have a lot of good people in many, many different parts of the world who can say the same kind of words that I speak, that we speak, do it a little differently. But if we all mean one thing, let's heal and reconcile. That would be a really good thing to do.
Yeah. That is well said, Peter. And on behalf of the Legacy Hope Foundation, I want to thank you very much for doing this with us. Nakumik.
Thank you. Nakumik. Miigwech. Kuyanamik.
Kuyanamik, yeah.
Roots and Hoots is a podcast project produced by the Legacy of Hope Foundation. For episode show notes, please visit the podcast description and make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review. For more information about the work we do, please visit legacyofhope.ca.